Do you want to create a successful business and preserve your energy? Make more money while you stay true to your values? Know how to reclaim your calm in times of stress? Enjoy a balance between the time you give your career, your family, and yourself without feeling guilty? Welcome to the Reclaim Your Balance podcast. I'm Dr. Laura Schwent, longtime dentist and work-life balance coach. In each episode, we'll explore ways to feel empowered about the time you devote to your career, your family, and yourself. Develop tools to help you reclaim your calm in times of stress, and purposefully make more balanced daily decisions based on your core values. Join me as I hack the world of work-life balance and bring to you extraordinary professional women who are at the forefront of living their best lives in balance and harmony as guests to constantly inspire you to reclaim your balance. You are the CEO of your life. Now become the boss of your balance. All right, we are live. Hello and welcome, Karen. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Laura, for having me. I'm super excited to chat with you today.
Fantastic. Yes, everyone, this is Karen Tindall, and she is on because she is an advocate for balanced doctors, right?
Yeah, that's me. So I have my own company, which is called balancedoctor.com. And I help dentists, physicians, and healthcare and dental professionals who are super busy in their daily lives. And I think we all know what that feels like. But I want to help those people who want to reclaim a little bit of balance in their lives so they can still be professionally successful. But at the same time, the important bit to me is for them to thrive personally. Because we spend so much time at work that can take too much of our attention away from everything else. So I help those people who want to just live the life they want now rather than putting it off. Because I'm sure you'll agree, Laura, lots of people say, oh, I'll do that when X, Y, and Z happens, or I'm going to do that once I've reached whatever status in my career. So, but I want to help people realize that they can have the life they want now, rather than in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what a better place to be. I'm so happy that we connected. Ann Duffy connected us. She just knew that we would hit it off, and we did. We had a phenomenal conversation. And but as you can tell, Karen is not from the United States. She is from, and we just had this conversation, so I hope to say it correctly now, Yorkshire.
Yep, perfect.
United Kingdom. Yep. Awesome. And she actually did her training there. So she got her Bachelor of Dental Surgery degree with honors from Newcastle University. And then your postgrad from the University of Oxford.
Yes, that's correct.
And so the education for a dentist is different in the UK than it is in the United States a little bit. Can you just explain how your educational process, how you became a dentist, and what was that like?
Yeah, certainly. So the main difference is, and this is like a whole college experience difference to start off with, when you finish school, so you're a senior at school and you go to college. In England, we call that we're going to university because the college sort of structure doesn't work. But we go to college at age 18. And that is where we choose which profession, degree we want to do, because we go straight into doing a bachelor's degree at age 18. So at age 18, I went to dental school, and that was in the year 2000, in the year 1995. And in the year 2000, I qualified as a dentist just a couple of days short of my 23rd birthday. So I was just still 22 years old. Basically, when you look back at it, I was a baby dentist at that point in time. And then you start your postgraduate training, doing dentistry in whether you're going along a hospital route or whether you want to work as a family dentist. So you get to be a dentist a lot quicker by doing that in the United Kingdom than here watching people do their first 4-year college degree and then choosing to go on to do dentistry or medicine or something like that. So yeah, I was out there in the real world doing dentistry from a very young age.
Wow, that's really fun. And then you found that you really enjoyed orthodontics.
Yeah, well, I was very lucky that I started off working as a family dentist to start off with. And orthodontics was probably something which was very far from my mind. It was something when I was at dental school that I didn't see the excitement in orthodontics. I wanted something more exciting than that. But after I'd had my first daughter, we were moving back to be close to my family, and I was thinking, what could I do? And I saw a job advertised in orthodontics where you would be trained whilst you worked. And it was just too good an opportunity to turn down. And I'm so pleased I took it, because I ended up working with the most incredible mentor who I stayed there for 12, 13 years before moving to the United States. And he taught me everything I knew about orthodontics. And it turned into the fact that I actually have a passion for straightening teeth and creating, for me, it was the creating smiles on people. And I think that's where whatever I choose to do, and now I am the professional life coach in that capacity, but I still help people create smiles, but just in less of a practical hands-on way with the teeth and more with how they live their lives and helping them in that way.
I love how you make that circle. That's a great way. Yeah, that's really awesome. And so you have 2 daughters.
I do. Yeah.
And you were a busy dentist while you were having kids. And so you were really trying to figure out this work-life balance. And at first it probably was challenging. Is that true?
I think so. So I always worked. Before moving to the United States, I always worked. And in England, we are very fortunate that as women, we get a lot more maternity leave than ladies do here. And most people in England have about a year off work after having a baby. I took 6 months because I was self-employed, which is still very long in comparison with what I see here in the United States. And I was then juggling work and baby, and everybody knows what that's like, whether you're a mum, a dad, a grandparent, if you've got some small children in your life, you know what it's like to juggle all of these things. And I always looked at my friends who didn't work and almost felt a little bit jealous. Like I used to think, I wish that was me. I wish that I could have the time. And there's a lot of things that go into that, isn't there? There's mum guilt that you feel that you should be with your children more and you're at work. And I was very fortunate that we lived close to my parents and they were able to help me out with childcare. But there's always that thing in the back of your mind that you wish you could be doing it yourself. And there'd be things at school that you might not, performances that you might not be able to get to, even though I was pretty lucky that I could juggle most things. And it was just doing that, combining the two, which I always did. And it just became part of normal life. And I didn't almost even think about the stress that it put on everything until the point that we moved to America. And that was in 2016. And I couldn't work because of visa restrictions. And then having that opportunity not to work gave me a chance to see how life could be when, I mean, it wasn't a balance at that point. It was completely swung the other way. But when there was no work, what could I be like? And for the first time in my life, I felt like I did a really good job at being a mum. And I was always there for everybody and I was on top of everything. And it would be nice that we didn't have long lists of things that needed to be done on an evening, because both myself and my husband have been at work. We were able to get it done. I was able to do it during the day. So I was able to experience the other side of this balance, that, wow, look what I could have. And that made me really think that, isn't it sad that so many of us go through day-to-day life, one, maybe not even having experienced what it's like to have a complete change from going into work. And I was fortunate to be able to have that experience. But then wouldn't it be great if I could help people be able to create some more of that balance so they could enjoy parts of both, rather than, hi, I'm Karen, I'm an orthodontist. And that was my main that was my professional identity. And that's a huge part of who you are, is your professional identity. To then leave that, and I lost my professional identity. And that's a whole nother story about what that's like to lose that identity. But I then became Kate and Isabel's mum and Josh's wife. So I was defined by my relationships to other people. That wouldn't it be nice if you could mix the two together, and I can help parents and busy dentists and dental professionals be both rather than just be one or the other.
Right. Yeah. I think that's so common for women. And I feel like you can feel like you're doing really great at your professional life, and then your family life suffers. Or you can put a ton of focus into your family life and your professional life suffers. And that was always a struggle that I had, was where is that balance? And then throw in that third spoke of the wheel, which is you, right? Like, you have to take care of you too. And so I think that just is such an interesting journey that you've been on, that has led you to want to help women figure this out before it's too late.
Yeah. And like a lot of clients, when I speak to them, and they're always justifying, it will be okay when this happens, or I just need to get my business up to this point, or when I get an associate in to work with me, then I will be able to. And I just find it so hard to listen to that. They're putting life on hold and waiting for something to happen. And pretty much you can guarantee it doesn't change, because let's pretend you get another associate in to work with you. And then you're even busier because there's two of you seeing the work. And it's then even harder to step away, even though that was your original plan, to step away from that. So by working with my clients, we look at what their values are, what their beliefs are in relating to work and what they want to achieve. And we can then help together. We can craft something, and it's all their work. I mean, that's the thing. It's all coming from them. I am not the expert on anybody's life. Whoever you are the expert on your life, and you will be able to tell me what's best for you. But by asking the right questions of my clients, I then help them determine what it is they actually really want. And is it realistic? Because if somebody said, actually, I just want to be the super mom and the super dentist, and probably they are already super mom and super dentist, right, or super dental hygienist or something like that. But they don't see that, and they're searching for something, and they feel like they should be doing everything perfectly.
Right. Oh, yes, the perfectly. Well, we're bred to do perfect in dental school, right? It's all about, and when we're talking, less than a millimeter of measurement, we're bred for perfection. And so we're high achievers. We've pushed ourselves. And so, that you're right. We're looking for that perfect everything. Yeah. And so I love how you say that it's all within each individual, that you don't have a plan for them. It's within them, but you help them figure that out.
Yeah. So everybody has the wisdom within them already to know what it is they actually should be doing. But in life, we very rarely give ourselves the opportunity to sit down and really consider and reflect on what we're doing and how we're doing. Mm-hmm. And when you do that on your own, it is very difficult to get a 360-degree view of your life, because you're biased. You're already in that situation and you're seeing something your way. You might be able to ask your best friend or your partner or spouse how you should do something. And these people are great resources in life to turn to when you need them, but they are also involved in that situation as well. And they are very close to it. And it then becomes that their advice to you is almost guided by what they want, even though they're not being selfish, but they are invested in this same decision. Mm-hmm. So that's why working with a coach is so valuable, because I am on your team. I am your cheerleader. I am there to help this happen for you. But I am not biased in any way as to what you're going to say the answers are. And I can ask questions, and I like to challenge people about what they're saying. And like, is this really, like, explain it to me, tell me more about it, really think it through. And that's where I think working with a coach is so valuable, that you can have that opinion. And somebody gave me a really beautiful analogy. It's like, imagine you are inside a water bottle, one of these plastic ones that we shouldn't be using, or a glass. Let's go with a glass jar. Let's be eco-friendly. Imagine you're in the jar, and I can't see. So imagine we're in here, but we can see out, and we can see what's going on, but we can't read the label on the jar. Mm-hmm. So it takes a coach to be able to come in, and I can read the label on the jar clearly and give it back to you and say, well, from what you're saying, it sounds like you need more time in your day to get these things done. Where are we going to get that time from? How are we going to get that back? Because there is only a certain amount of time in the day. And quite often when you think I'll make time, something has to give to be able to get that extra time. So I can help you work out, where is that time coming from? Well, that's just one example of, how a coach would help.
Yeah. That's a great, I love that analogy. And I also love, I've worked with a coach, I've worked with several coaches, but one thing that was, when the very first time I had a coach that completely threw me off, was our first conversation. I asked her about her life, and she said, no, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. And let's cut to it. And I just thought, wow, when you go to a friend or you go to your spouse, half the time you're talking about the weather or the kids or an activity. And by the time you really get to what you want to talk about, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas with a coach, from the second you start, you are talking about what the important stuff that you need to talk about.
And you as the client, you are the priority in that situation, and as you say, in normal conversation day to day, that doesn't happen. We would feel selfish if we were to sit down and talk with a friend and it was only about me, and you would find that relationship would be out of balance, and it probably wouldn't exist, because people like to be heard, but in this situation, it's unique that this is your time to talk, and I will just guide you through the chat and ask questions and reflect things back to you, but me like guiding you slowly. Some people liken it to, it's a bit of a dance where the coach dances with the client and I follow you where you go. And then sometimes it can be more like, I like to think of it as like, you've got somewhere you want to go on a straight road, but you can't get there on your own, and you keep zigzagging off. Then I can just nudge you back in, and then we go this way, and then I'll nudge you back that way. And then you keep going down this road with me, like just keeping you in that center point. But then you get to the goal at the end of it.
That's great. I love that. So when you came to the United States, you came because your husband got a job here, right?
Yes.
Or a transfer here, right?
Yeah.
And then you couldn't practice dentistry. Was that a shock?
I knew that would be the case.
Yeah.
I'd always known that if, as a United Kingdom resident, if you wanted to come and work in the United States as a doctor or a dentist, you would have to do some more exams. And that's just the way it is, that you would have to do more exams to do that. Well, I live in Bentonville in Northwest Arkansas, which is the home of Walmart World Home Office. And that's why we're here, because my husband works for Walmart, and there is no dental school near me. So to start off with, I didn't have a visa to work, so I couldn't work. There was no dental school here. So that came a time where I just wasn't working to start off with, and we were just going to see. And the plan is that we were going to go back to England. We were here for 2 years, and then we would go home. And 4.5 years later, we're still here. We've bought a house. I've got a dog. He's asleep on the floor next to me now. And life is very settled, and we really enjoy our life, and it's fantastic. But then there became a time when I knew that I had to be doing something more. To start off with, being the full-time mum was, like I explained earlier, it was fantastic, and I was able to give it my full attention. But I started to get bored. And I didn't really even realize what it was to start off with. And I tell a story about how small things that normally in the course of when I was at work, like emptying the dishwasher, folding the laundry, doing those sort of things, they would just get done as part of my day. And I wouldn't notice that I was even doing them. They would just happen. And those tasks started to become more onerous to me. And I would like, oh, I've got to empty the dishwasher. And I used to have to motivate myself by setting a timer on my phone to say, I've got 5 minutes, come on, empty the dishwasher, get it done. So now, and I had the insight to think, come on, what is going on here? Like, this isn't like you. Why are these things becoming a bigger deal than they should be? I was also becoming the go-to expert in my house for things that, like, you'd ask, oh, what's mummy good at? Oh, well, mummy's really good at doing the laundry, tidying up, doing the garden, things like that, that I was like, gosh, I used to be this successful person who had a profession, and I used to be the orthodontist who straightened teeth. And now I'm great at getting the laundry back to the correct bedroom. So I sat down and thought, what is going on? What is the issue here? And I actually thought, I'm bored. And I know that's a buzzword, I'm bored. But when I explored it a little bit more, it's like I missed being an expert at something. And I missed being in a position where I got to work with people and I got to share what I'd learned with people. So then I was looking for something to do that wasn't dentistry. And I came across becoming a professional life coach. And I just loved the idea that I could help people by talking to them. And I think to start off with, I thought incorrectly, before I really researched it, life coaches gave advice, because I thought, hey, being a dentist or an orthodontist, what have I done, or what do we both do in work every day? You talk to people, but at the end of the day, you give them your professional opinion as to what they should be doing. Mm-hmm. So this idea that I could have a profession where I didn't give people advice, but I could help them, was really intriguing. Like, how does this work? And you'll know what it's like, Laura, to be coached. And when you have been coached, it's almost like a magic trick that by somebody asking you the right questions, it unlocks the puzzle. And it's that aha moment of, that's it. Like, it's so simple. Why did I never see that before? So
we have someone on saying hi to us. Sorry.
Hey. So that's the interesting thing, is that, like, I found this passion for helping people, but without telling them what to do. So it was completely different from working in dentistry, where I would advise people that I think these are your options. What would you like to do? So,
yeah. Awesome. So in your coaching experience now, because your whole platform is advocating balance, work-life balance, professional balance, personal balance, what do you find are the biggest challenges your clients are having? What are the hot button topics? Yeah,
that's a really good question. I think for people, the first one is probably everybody says yes too often. Because we're in a caring profession. And I think as we've been in that profession, we want to help people. I think that's within our nature in healthcare, to be that person to help. Yeah. And that's so inbuilt within us that anybody asks people to do anything, and we want to please and we want to say yes. And I was very much like this as well. I never wanted to say no to anybody.
Oh, yeah.
That you just then take more on. But what we don't realize is that each time we take something more on, something else is going to have to give, because we have a finite period of time. Yeah. So for a lot of people, it's learning to say no to all the extra things added on. And one example I would think to share with you would be when I first moved here. My girls were at school for about 10 weeks before the summer vacation. And during the summer vacation, I was approached by school to say, hey, would you like to be the 5th grade parent coordinator? Now, in me being helpful, yes, of course, I would love to be this coordinator. What does it involve? And maybe I was a little naive and they saw me as somebody who was an easy target, that I was new and I would do this. But they told me, oh, it's fine, it's easy. You just have to communicate between the parents and if there's information that needs to go out. I was like, I can do that. That's fine. I'm good at communicating. Little did I realize, and this is a very American thing, that I have to organize parties for Halloween, which is the biggest American tradition. You've put a British girl in charge of Halloween. Like, it just doesn't work. So I had Halloween, Christmas. I could do Christmas, but I can't do it in the flamboyant way. And I love how Americans celebrate their holidays in a big start. It's fabulous. And that's what I love about being here. Christmas, Valentine's Day. I've never done a Valentine's Day party. And all these parties like lined up would just come. And I was like, what have I signed myself up for? And it caused me stress. And I had to fundraise. And I'd never done anything like that before. I was successful at what I did and I pulled it off. But what should I have done at the beginning? Like, I said yes because I felt that I should be doing it. And that this word comes in all the time, isn't it? What we should be doing. And I think really after that point, I sat down and really thought, no, you have to be kind of more strict about what you say yes to. And it has to really do something for you to say yes. It has to be something, you really enjoy. It's going to give you a lot of pleasure to be doing it. Because by this point in our careers, we're dentists, our time is precious. And unless something is going to be of benefit to you, or you feel so strongly in support of a cause that you are going to help. I volunteered at the Children's Hospital, and that was something I really felt strongly that I could help and give my time to that. So that was worth it to me because it brought me joy to do that. But really be like saying no to things when people just ask, would you be able to? And I think the thing is not to apologize for when you can't do something. So I think a lot of the time somebody said, Karen, would you help us set up for whatever's going on at this event? Could you help to put out the chairs? I would be inclined to say, yes, I'll help because I want to be helpful. But I actually know that my Wednesday is going to be super busy and that by doing these chairs, it's going to put me back on everything else that I'm trying to get done. So at that point in time, I should say, and be honest, thank you so much for thinking of me. Because people only ask you to do things because they think you're capable. Thank you for thinking of me. That was really kind of you. Unfortunately, I'm unable to help on this occasion. And don't make up a reason why you're unable to help. I can't help because I'm doing this. It's just, I'm really sorry. I'm not able to help right now. And that can help at work and in professional situations as well. And when you get to a point in your career where you don't have to climb that career ladder anymore, it changes. So if you're training and somebody offers you the great opportunity of, hey, would you like to write this paper with me? That might be harder to say no to because that could be the step that you need. So it's appreciating that. But once you've got to the position where you want to be, to then if somebody asks you, hey, would you like to co-author on this paper with me? Maybe now isn't the right time to do that. Maybe it's not in your goals for the year to be writing a paper, and maybe you have a different goal. And by accepting what they're saying will take you away from the path that you really wanted to take. So again, it's thank you for thinking of me. That was really kind. I really appreciate the thought. But unfortunately, it's not aligning with my goals this year to be doing that. It's just being honest. And I've had people that have come back to me after we've talked about this in coaching, and they're so excited, or drop me a message or whatever and saying, hey, do you know what? I said no yesterday to somebody and it was so empowering. Like to be able to do that, I felt great because I felt like I hadn't been rude. I hadn't not helped, but I acknowledged that they wanted me to help, but then I couldn't do it. So
that's awesome. You're a big advocate of setting boundaries, aren't you? Just
I think that's really
in everything. Yeah. And I love how you phrase it so that they, you're thanking them, you're acknowledging them. And I also like how you say at this time, so that they know that they can still come to you maybe with another request in the future, that you're not like shutting the door completely.
Yeah. I think that's, for me, is really important that people will know that. That's a lovely comment. What a concept. It's honest. That's it, isn't it? It's honesty. It's rather than pretending I can't do something for whatever reason. But it's so important to be able to say no clearly, set those boundaries, and then boundaries are really, I mean, if you look at the word boundary, it kind of implies that something is protected and kept enclosed. But actually, by creating a boundary, it is your biggest gate to freedom. Because it gives you the freedom to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
So by protecting what's important to you, keeping it in a bubble, and that's your time,
Yeah.
you then gain the freedom because you can then actually get to do the things that really are important to you. So maybe instead of setting the chairs out for an event on an evening, maybe actually by saying no, that actually enabled that I was able to get home and have dinner with my family.
Mm-hmm.
Or it gave me the time that I could actually get to go to the gym or do some exercise. And I think that's, people think, oh my gosh, that feels really selfish to put myself first, because we tend not to think of ourselves in that way, that I am important to look after me. But really, that's where you've got to put yourself, is to say, I am important. And if, going to the gym for an hour is going to help me reset and feel more grounded, then that's really important to be in that, to say no to the other things so you can look after yourself.
Right. Well, and I think that that's so important. Like in dental school and in professional school, we learn to manage our time, to prioritize. We have this exam, we're going to study for that first, and then we're going to do our lab work. And then, we figure that all out, but then we get out into life and it's sort of like we lose that structure. And we have been, I agree with you, we've been on that professional ladder saying yes to things because it's advanced our career or it's helped us. But yet at some point we have to hone in on what our vision is, what our true why is, so that we can we can prioritize what those yeses are and what those no's are,
Yeah, it's so important. And that's what I like helping people with, is that let's work out what's really important to you. So when I first meet a client, one of the first things we do is we do an exercise where we look at your values. And people find it really enlightening to be able to give them the opportunity to sit down and say, we might look, say, in terms of general life, or there might be a specific area that you want to focus on, whether it's work or family, but let's work through. And I've got this list of all of these values, and I'd ask people to pick various ones out, and then we'll talk them through and actually come up with a list that are your definitive top 10, top 12. Some people find it difficult to limit the number they can choose because there's so many, and they're all good. None of them are bad. But like your definitive list of your values, and then my clients can go away with the list, and some of them like laminate it and might keep it in their nightstand or keep it in their purse or whatever. Because quite often in life, when something is not going your way, it's not turning out like you wanted it to, maybe you're not happy, something, it's probably because you're not aligning with one of your values. So to be able to go back to that, maybe you've had a really difficult day, something went wrong at work or whatever, to go back and pick that list out and say, actually, what happened today that wasn't on this list? And you're like, oh yeah, one of my values is that I really appreciate honesty. And there was somebody who for me wasn't being honest today with me, and that's why this scenario didn't work out. And I think you can use this list of values in so many different parts of your life, whether you are recruiting staff to work at your practice or whatever. And I mean, staff and getting them in your practice, we all know that it's such an important thing to get the right people in your team. And there was a statistic that I heard recently that each time you replace and turn over a member of staff on your team, the amount of time that you've put into these people and their training and everything, it's approximately $80,000 per member of staff that you are going to replace in your team. So if you think about how many times a staff member turns over per year, even if it's just one, that is a huge amount of money. But if maybe before that point in time, we had chance to meet and talk through and say, in relation to getting new people on my team, what is it that I am looking for from these people? We can maybe help you pick people that will be more aligned to the values of your practice or you personally. And that's why it could be more of a success rather than just an $80,000 gamble.
Mm-hmm. Well, and knowing that helps you, like you said, in the future. So being able to be in alignment with your values and what's important to you, really, you can learn from that, and it can create a much smoother future for you.
Yeah, definitely. And then, I mean, as time goes on, I mean, life changes and it ebbs and flows, and it's not just one set of values and that's your values forever. They,
Right.
at different points in your life, they may be different,
Mm-hmm.
but there are probably some core values which will always be with you.
Mm-hmm.
And they are very individual to a person, and then changing it depending on where you are in your life and what you're wanting at that point in time is you then have the option. And this is an exercise that my clients take away, and they can do it again and again and again. And I say to them, if there's something else that comes up and we can't meet, or you're busy, whatever, you can go through this with yourself, follow the same things that we did, and you can work out your values in relation to, I mean, one thing I remember was, how does somebody organize Christmas or Thanksgiving? I think it was Thanksgiving. And their value was, at Thanksgiving, they didn't want to be traveling around the country to go visit family. But that's what they always did. They always got in the car and drove for 8 hours to see their family. Well, already that their value, they need to, so what we sat down and we worked out what their values were. And we came to the conclusion that this person, family was really important to them, but they really wanted to wake up and go to sleep in their own bed on that day. They didn't want to be in the car for hours and hours. And so we were able to help design a Thanksgiving for this dentist to be able to actually enjoy their time off rather than be spending it in the car. And so you can put them into use in any walk of life.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Well, speaking of travel, you love to travel. Tell me some of your top travel places, destinations. What do you have to share with us?
I could overtake this Facebook video for the next how many hours on places that I have been and things that I would recommend people go see. I have been very lucky to have been able to travel my whole life. My parents, I was fortunate that they took us places as children, and we came and traveled around the United States, and we've seen a lot of things. I think if I had to pick my favorite country to go visit in the whole world, it would be Italy. And it's not just the incredible coffee, the gelato, the pizza, the pasta, the wine, the everything, but just the scenery and the incredible history of the country. You could take me, if somebody said, you're going somewhere tomorrow, where do you want to go? And that's providing we can get on a plane and fly away. But I would be going to Rome, to go to Rome. But we had one summer where we went on vacation to Tuscany, and I like finding unique things that are different and not run of the mill. And I wanted to avoid other British tourists on my trip. So I spent a long time I found this incredible place. I thought, yes, this is where we're going. And it was amazing. It was a farmhouse in Tuscany, where everything was already sort of catered for, and there were lots of excursions that you could choose to opt in to do if you wanted, but you do them on your own. You didn't do them with a group. And it was so exciting. And we arrived, we were the only English family, and every other family at this place was American. Like, why are there so many Americans? Like, I'm in the middle of Italy and like I'm surrounded by Americans. And I made friends with one family who were there, and they are still my friends to this day. And our first Thanksgiving in America back in 2016, they live in Houston, and my friend Mandy invited us down there to spend Thanksgiving with her. But what had been is this place in Italy that I thought was a secret hidden gem was actually on one of Rick Steves' travel shows as somewhere to go in Tuscany, which explains why it was there. But it was absolutely incredible. And this place is called La Cretaiola in Tuscany, and it was so beautiful. Like, it was just an experience and a vacation. I call a vacation a holiday, but it was like a vacation of a lifetime, really. And my youngest daughter, who was 9 at the time, remembers we went to a Michelin starred restaurant where I got to cook with the chef, and then we had like this private lunch with him, and she still remembers that. And we were talking about it just this morning in the car when I was taking her somewhere, about how that was her favorite trip she's ever done. She just So I would be going back to Italy in a heartbeat to go and eat beautiful food and have incredible experiences and just appreciate some of this amazing history that's just been there for thousands of years. And I just marvel at it and I love it.
Awesome. That is amazing. I have been fortunate to go to Italy myself, and it is definitely, I'd go back in a heartbeat too as well. So yes. Awesome.
I just love finding something new. Each time you go to Rome, they've dug up a new bit of ancient that's just happened to pop up. So
it is amazing how old some of that stuff is. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Love it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're kind of coming to the end here, but I want to make sure that everybody knows, first of all, where to find you. So we have your website going across the bottom right now, balancedoctor.com. I will also put all of this in the comments so that people can find you. And then on Instagram, you are Dr. Karen Balanced Doctor.
Yep, that's me.
And then we also have a Facebook page that is Balanced Doctor. You can find her there. So, and Karen has a PDF. Is that what you describe it? Your PDF is 8 Habits of Balanced Doctors. And so I'm going to put the link to that in the comments too, and be sure and check that out. That is a completely free resource that she has for you guys. And if you want to just give us a little synopsis of what they can expect when they sign up for that.
Yeah, well, that is created from me with conversations with my clients. And these are things that people who have come to coaching and wanted to change things in their life, things that they have started doing as a result of coaching that are making them happy, balanced doctors. So it's actual real life anecdotes from people as to what they're doing now. So maybe you already do some of these things, maybe you don't, maybe there's 1 or 2 that you'd like to add in, but it's a list of things that are really simple to implement and that you can actually implement now. So once you downloaded it, you can read it through and say, actually, that's a really good idea. I think I should start trying to do that. But it's from real dentists and physicians who have shared these things with me about what they're doing or things that we've come up with whilst we're coaching. And I promise I don't overwhelm you with newsletters or adverts or anything like that. I am very quiet on the email. So your email address, I do appreciate your privacy, and that email is your private inbox. So I won't be bombarding you with a lot of other things. But I'd love to share that with anybody who would like to be a happier, more balanced doctor.
Awesome. I will make sure that link is posted, and I would say everyone take advantage of that because, this is real information coming from real people and real tips that you can use today to start living a more balanced life.
It works.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate your time, and keep showing up here at Reclaim Your Balance and giving us your tips and helping us keep a more balanced life. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I will. I'm currently writing self-care booklet, like a workbook. So that will be coming soon. So when that's ready, I will send the link everybody's way for something that people can be able to do at home.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for being here. All right.
Having
Cheers.
me.
You bet.
Bye.
You are the CEO of your life. Now become the boss of your balance.